Thanks, Kieran, and thanks everyone again for joining us for today's awards. My name is Mark Donoghue, and I'm the Managing Director of iSky at RFI. Of course, I'm disappointed to not be there with you all today to celebrate the awards and the award recipients, but it is nonetheless my absolute privilege and pleasure to be able to introduce to you for the very first time the UK Digital Excellence Awards from RFI Global. These awards celebrate providers that have gone the extra mile, digital banking experiences that seek to align themselves to the needs and the wants and expectations of the customer. And in that aspect, we are underpinning these awards with insights and intelligence that are garnered from the perspective of the customer. That first-hand view that a customer would have, be it in app or web, at what it is that they can and cannot do with their respective digital banking providers. So to support that, we access banks as a customer. We get an account. By extension, we get a username and a password, and we log in and we experience what it is a customer would experience. We see it and we document it in our iSky Radar portal. That portal is readily available to all of our subscribers across the globe. And of course, we have many in the UK and many in the room today. And if you'd like to be one of those banks to have that access and have that level of insight available to you and your colleagues, we'd be only too happy to assist. Please speak to one of my RFI colleagues today or reach out at a later stage and we'd be certain to make that happen for you. But as we see from that lens of the customer and we see in the interactions that we have with our clients around the world today, perhaps more than ever, every penny counts and every pixel matters in what we do in digital. And customers' expectations are growing. Growing is a reflection of the experiences that they are seeing themselves or indeed that they are seeing in their friends, family or colleagues' digital banking experiences. Cards, security, control, an ability for customers to be the determinant of the risk, the profile and the experience that they will be having with their bank. And this is something of a balancing act for our FIs. FIs that are seeking to offer customers a greater depth of experience and self-service, but aligning it to the risk and the security, of course, that is perhaps no more present than it has been in this 2026 year of ours. And ultimately, we see those that are doing well in that aspect being the providers that can strike a balance that seeks to assist, inform, and engage the customer, whilst at the same time, of course, seeking to mitigate and manage the risk and exposure that that customer or the business may indeed have through those channels. But just to give you some of the highlights, as we say at the top of the screen, we see speed, security, and simplicity in balance as being key to a good user experience and key to the leading providers that we're capturing across the globe. Digital cards is one of those areas in which user experiences have expanded, if not exploded, in recent years. Cards are now affording customers an ability to go so much further than we ever have been able to in integrating friends and family into our payments landscape and pushing that control upstream to the hands and the empowerment of the customer. Again, to determine to what extent a card can be used, how many times in a day, what amounts, what payment methods. All of this control sitting in the hands of our financial controller and undoubtedly making it easy for them to manage the risk, the payments, and indeed the finances of the household. And in the context of risk, security hubs continue to evolve across the globe. Bank of America was one of the very first to introduce that experience to us across the globe. And a good security hub combines two fundamental things: communication and management. We often see banks that will talk to customers about the joint responsibility of securing their profile and their funds. Well, that can only be a joint responsibility if we empower the individual to understand, to know, and to see the risk, and to respond to the risk in a way that is most appropriate to them. And a good security hub does that. We're, of course, also seeing greater degrees of customization and personalization than we've ever seen before. And at the same time, heightened degrees of self-service, which for some customers can be challenging. And we see a growing number of providers that respond to that in the way that we have DBS here on screen, enabling the customer to customize the extent or depth of self-service functionality that they would have in their experience. And this will continue to grow. undoubtedly, as the technology continues to evolve to empower our customer to do exactly that, to have an experience that is fundamentally a better reflection of them. And finally, on the far right of screen, a UK-based experience, in this case from HSBC Kinetic. This is one of my favourite screens of recent years. It's a screen that talks to, first and foremost, communication with the customer, bringing an awareness to customer and imparting a knowledge to customer about a future potential episode that they should or ought to be aware of. But not only are they highlighting the potential issue, but perhaps even more importantly, they are talking to the customer about potential solutions or available actions that they could potentially engage in order to assuage or reduce the issue that they face. That call to action is incredibly powerful. It's gold dust for us in the way that we can engage the customer, perhaps around the solutions, services, or products that we offer that can help to fill that need in that moment. So as we say, speed, security, and simplicity in balance. Striking that balance is absolutely challenging, but the leading providers are finding that way. But back again, just to talk to you briefly about the awards themselves and to better understand what it is that we are awarding in our category today. We have two scoring systems that you will see come up in the awards in just a moment. The voice of customer score is what we talk to in the context of our leading or best providers in market. The voice of customer score is a singularly unique metric that we have at RFI. It is a combination of surveying of customers, market research that informs an understanding and awareness as to what it is customers want in their digital banking experience, combined with our unique and insightful benchmarking. The voice of customer, again, simply put, brings together what the customer wants with what they get. And our leading practitioners will be a reflection of that in our awards today. But in addition to that, we also have the friction score. Friction score that looks, again, objectively at the extent of friction that customers will encounter in the journeys that are afforded to them by their bank. We look at a number of key journeys across all the providers that we have access to in the United Kingdom to quantify the clicks, the swipes, the wipes, the fields, the factors of security the customer has to navigate through in order to complete those key journeys. And so it is those methods that will underpin our awards for today. And in that way, no further ado, let's announce the award winners.